laid back. It's not a formal WebEx or anything, but it's a way to create a moment of connection, community, and camaraderie, as well as a little bit of education and motivation and inspiration. So without further ado, I would like to go ahead and open up our final 10-minute wellness talk today, and I couldn't think of a better way to end this particular series than with Cyrill Derreamaux. He is the most amazing person that you will meet. He is a friend of mine that I've known for a long time, and it's been so amazing to follow you and your endeavors and how you've really stepping into the power of the human spirit. And so today we're trying to condense this amazing journey that you've been on into how to raise your wellness game and how you did that as you journeyed across the Pacific. And with that said, you are definitely a person that is not just a dreamer, but a doer. So you really have learned to harness the world and what can I do to make myself better, and how can I help everyone around me step into their better and best selves. And by doing that and finding and giving the gift that you have of the power of the human spirit, you've been able to accomplish becoming a Guinness World Record holder for the fastest crossing in a 4-person rowing rowboat across doing the Great Race. And you accomplished that in 39 days, 9 hours, and 56 minutes. Oh my goodness. I don't think there's a greater, that's just amazing. So we welcome you here today to hear about how to up your wellness game and increase the better sense, having a better sense of mental, physical, and emotional well-being. So welcome, Cyrill Derreamaux. How are you?
I'm awesome. I'm excellent. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much. When you told me, I loved your acronym, WYAO. I don't know if everybody knows what it means. It sounds very Hawaiian, but it basically means work your ass off. And I think my friend Steve would like that. So when you told me this, I say, oh, I got to be on that talk. But when you told me, okay, the subject is how to raise your wellness and well-being, and actually it didn't really talk to me that much, because everything I did was organically, right? So for instance, to me, it's like, how do you reach happiness? How do you reach wellness? Well, okay, you could, work out, eat better, sleep well, and, lose weight, run more, see more people. So there's so many components that, to me, it actually doesn't speak to too much. How do you do to be well, and like how to be happy? So what I've started to understand with my personality was that I had to seek not happiness or not wellness, but I had to seek what excites me and what makes me vibrate. So anytime I felt this, I love, I just want to do, and I want to do more, and I want to do it again, and I want to, so basically this is my trick. And for me, it was not work your ass off. It's work your excitement to the max. You're right. So everything I'll tell you is probably just based on my own experience. There's no perfect rule. There's no secret formula. It's just going to be about what I did to along the years that passed, basically.
So before you get into kind of this journey, can you give us a little bit of background, like where you grew up, how you grew up? Were you born with a paddle and an oar in your hands? Where are your roots?
Okay, so I was born in France, in the north of France, in a town called Lille, and we say that if it's not raining, it's because it's about to rain. So we were taught, so okay, it's raining, put some boots, go outside, and it doesn't matter if it rains, doesn't matter the weather. So that's how I was raised. And a child number 2 in a 5-kid family. My dad was a cardiologist, and I stayed in France for 20 years. So I was raised in a small town. And then I discovered, actually at 18 years old, I was exchange student, and I went to Arkansas for 1 year. And so I was exchange student. Did a 12th grade, and I was the kicker. I loved the experience. It's wilderness kind of state, it's called the natural state. I loved it. And I came out of this experience saying, I love to live overseas. I love to meet new people. I love to be in an environment that is not friendly in the way that it's not familiar to me. I love to international. So I wanted more of this, like back to what I was thinking. So I did a master's degree in international business. That was 5 years, 2 years in France, 1 year in Oxford, England, 1 year in Madrid, Spain, and 1 year in Paris. And then after that, I did my 2 years of military service, which was working for a French company overseas in Italy, in Milan for 2 years. And after that, I was like, all my friends were starting to work in banking and all this. I said, no, I want to travel. So I did a 1 year trip around the world backpacking. For all the money I had was $7,000 1 year, everything included. And I did 26 countries. I love this. I loved Brazil. I said, I'm going back to Brazil. So then I moved to Brazil for 6 months, and I was teaching English, believe it or not. I was playing a lot of soccer. But to your point, I was not born with a paddle in my hands. I was more a soccer player, And so in Italy, in Brazil, then after that, I moved 2 years in Argentina. Soccer was best. So I had friends through soccer all the time. And at some point, I moved to California. And a friend of mine from Fiji, his friend Tevita, said, you should come paddle with me outrigger in Sausalito. So I went one time. I loved the camaraderie. I loved the friendship, being six in the boat, and how you could influence other people's energies by just paddling and feeling them in the back. Well, you know how it's OC6, yeah? And basically, I started paddling 10 years ago. I did one race, the first race, which was so funny. It was a 4-mile race, so it's like half an hour. I woke up early at 4 o'clock in the morning to eat my pasta and get ready. That's how much I knew. And anyway, in my race started to be a 12-mile. And then Leif, my friend, he said after 3 months, oh, you got to do this race, the Catalina race. I'm not ready for Catalina. Catalina to Newport is like 32 miles. And he said, you're jumping in the boat. Get ready. Jumped in the boat. Said yes. Did that race. And then the next point was, I got to do the Molokai Hoi. That's famous from Molokai to Oahu. So I trained for a year and got into that race. I was stroker up in the front because I wasn't very strong. I wasn't very fast, but I could keep the pace. So then I did the Molokai Hoi 4 times. I loved it in a Kwa canoe with Uncle Bobby Puakea. And arriving always in Waikiki. I loved it. I love this, the journey. And as I had to get better, the first time I did it was 6 hours. It felt like forever. And the second time was a bit better. Third time was better. I had experience. And then I was like, well, I'm actually not that good a paddler, but I can keep going. That's something I'd like to do more. So I signed up for the California 100, which is a 100-mile race down the Sacramento River, and we did it C2, so a 2-man canoe with my friend Johnny, and 12 hours. And just by taking a new goals every time, it's like, okay, how do you raise up your game? 12 hours, you got nutrition, you have to be fit, you have to be taking your intake of water, and what are the best products to do that, what are the best clothes, and then you learn. Remember, I was not a paddler 10 years ago. And then the problem with me is I always kind of look at something more, and I'm like a ignition for a new project. So I called my friend Leif, and I called those other guys, Matt. I said, how about we do that Yukon River Quest? What are you talking about? It's 440 miles. And it looks like fun. And anyway, we did this the first year in a 6-man canoe called the Voyager. Taking off, it's like the gold rush all over again, and a bunch of paddlers that are adventurers and just great people that you meet before and after. And then we did it again on a C4. It was 4-man, and my friend Steve, who gave us the canoe. We got to do that. I think it was 52 hours. And then I did it again on a C2 last year with my friend Galen. It took us a bit longer, 55 hours to finish that race. But anyway, then I was like, yeah, I think I'm actually good at self-awareness of where are my limits, or when I should push, when I should not push, etc. And then 4 years ago, I stumbled upon this website that says you don't have to be a rower to cross an ocean. So I said, what do you mean? I mean, you don't have to be a rower. You have to know how to, yeah, you can learn how to row, but it's mostly mental. And so I started rowing. I bought this little plastic fishing boat and I put oars in it and started to row in the bay. And I got trained. In fact, I tried to have you get in my boat to cross that, the little piece of pond between us and your island. And, you know, life goes in that I had to find another crew. We were 4 guys and we did 39 days, um, which was just, it was really, really hard because the pace is basically you row 2 hours, you stop 2 hours, you row 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours on all day, all night. There's always people running. Okay. So that's how it goes. And how do you train for this? Right. How do you train for 12 hours of rowing, 24/7, sleep deprivation, you know, small quarter and just in the middle of the ocean, the confinement, but also the expensive ocean. So you just have to raise your game, right? And I swore I'd never do it again. And when I got there, and obviously being the dreamer that I am, I read a few adventure book. I took to a few friends here and there, and there come the new challenge that was to cross in a solo kayak this time, not with the oars where you use your legs, but more of a kayak. Looking forward, taking my time more as an adventure and something that is not done too much. Okay, I give you.
You're like, whoa. You know, and it's, I think we're all sitting here going, okay, but so if I go and get a boat and I start rowing, I'm going to be able to do this. But something else that you practice is this kind of, you have this resilience about kind of throughout your day. When things arise, you learn how to deal with them. You don't just walk away or put the issue off till later. You face your challenges head on. And I think also you learn how to you become better at becoming uncomfortable, or you become more comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think that is a direct correlation into everything that we do in our lives, is that we like to get into our box and we get comfortable there, but you have to step that foot out and challenge you and go through the experience of falling over or flipping over, falling on your face or losing the project. But that's the only way you get better and you come back even stronger. Yes?
Yes,
Can you
totally.
speak to that? Yeah.
Totally. So, you know, as the mileage increased from 40 miles to 100, 200, 400, you have to raise your game. And then you have to ask yourself the questions of, okay, what do I need for the next challenge? What do I need? Right? Because the conditions obviously are going to be extreme. So that means that to face extreme conditions, you have to be at your best. What does that mean at your best? You have to be balanced. You have to balance. And I talk about the three: the physical, the mental, and the emotional. Like, let's take the mental, for example. What does it mean to be mentally strong? And for me, it doesn't mean, and I wrote a blog about it. People we could send a link to it, but to me, mentally strong is not give me 20 push-ups and 20 more and 20 more. Mentally strong is about seeing the reality in a different way and adapt the way of thinking. Like, for example, you know, you're going to have a storm for the next week. I mean, there's no reason to cuss against the weather in the ocean that is going to be bad, right? So be mentally strong is actually be mentally smart. It's mental flexibility to say, okay, well, I can't do anything about this. What can I do about me being better, staying dry and sleeping well, you know, or you know, it's all about goal setting. It's very subtle, but to go back to your point is you have to see, okay, how are the conditions going to be? Well, if it's 2:00 in the morning, you have to get up, put your wet clothes on, and get on the deck. That means you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable with the cold. So how do you train for that, right? So you have to remove every bit of laziness. And how do you identify laziness at home? It's like, okay, well, I got to do these dishes. I actually don't feel like it. Well, no laziness. Let's go. Do it. You know, it's cold outside. I don't want to, no laziness. Let's go outside. It's cold. I don't care. You're training. So, you know, it's kind of applying, it's like thinking ahead of what's going to be the situation and applying to your life on a daily basis to train and to get better and better and better. No, I'm pretty lazy now because I'm not training anymore.
Um, Maybe you can speak a little bit to when you decided to take your dream and put it into reality and actually do this first crossing, this big 24,000 nautical miles. Wait, is that right?
Yeah, 2,400. Yeah.
Thank you. Nautical miles. When you made that commitment, what do you remember what that felt like when you decided
Yeah.
we're doing it?
Yeah, totally. I think for me, it's different for everybody.
Mhm.
For me, when I decide something, I tell it to everyone, and I post it on every social media so that I'm accountable for that. Right? Other people will say completely on the stealth mode and prepare and make sure that they're ready before they communicate. So for me, it's I just decide, okay, I'm going to do this, and then you sit down and you say, okay, what do I need? Okay, I have finance and the time and I need a boat. What's the material? What's the gear? What's the food? How am I going to get this? A website and social media and sponsors and documentary and not, and then everything comes together. But the thing is, it's not a linear path. It's really like a puzzle.
Mhm.
Look at, to get something on this, you find a piece, there you go. You find another piece, there you go. Oh, this one works together. And it's only by putting it out there saying I'm going to do that puzzle that it actually comes together.
Mhm.
That's how it works for me. But again, everybody's different.
Mhm.
But what it is actually, I don't look too much at the final result. I just say I have a dream, so I say, oh wow, wouldn't it be nice to arrive in Hawaii solo, and be in the middle of the ocean and see maybe wildlife and birds. And so I kind of dream of all the best positive things. But then I sit down and say, okay, what does it take to make it happen?
So you really, I just find it so amazing when any individual can sit there and dream, and which we all need to be able to dream, and we can't lose that dream. And I think that's something that's very special with you, is that you've never lost that ability to dream, and then set that goal, figure out the roadmap. And you don't look at roadblocks as roadblocks. They're just another piece of the puzzle that you have to figure out how to make it work. And then you're able to fulfill that dream and that goal, because you've done the planning, but you haven't just let yourself get stuck in that
Mhm.
dreaming stage. But I think you have another way that you look at the world. You look at the world as a beginner, and you
Yes.
look at it, and I think that is something we forget about, and how important being a beginner is, because that's the foundation. And when things are going sideways, you got to go back to the beginning. So can you speak on that? Because I think that
Yeah,
is huge.
yeah, totally. So the first thing I do is when I want to do anything, I call other people that have done it before and that know, and I pick their brain and I ask them, what, because I mean, it's okay not to know, and there's always somebody who's done before, right? Not exactly maybe the same way, but if you're okay to not know, then it's not showing that you have a lack of knowledge. It's showing that you're curious. It's positive.
Mhm.
So I don't know how many times I called friends and say, hey, tell me about this, tell me about this. And then I pick my brain and I think, who else could I know? And I ask somebody else and I ask somebody else. And in the end, you become an expert because you've asked so many people.
And then then you go and you experience it, and you experience it in your own light, and you can pass that on to others as well.
Mhm.
Can you share a few moments on the boat with us that were exciting, maybe scary, maybe tested your patience?
Oh yeah, of course. There's so many that could come to mind. What I would say is that I'm very emotional, right? So that's my strength. I function on emotion, but that's also could be a weakness, right? See, if I'm too emotional, I don't control it, then it could be a weakness. And I could say that on my crossing, I probably cried every day. And every time my girlfriend's making fun of me because outside I was on the deck, I was roaring like and once I was in the cabin, I was putting my music and I was listening to Celine Dion and all that romantic music. But anyway, I would come out and I'm pretty optimistic guy. It was pouring rain. I was like, oh my god, it's such a beautiful day, bring it on. And then Fian, who was Icelandic, he was like more of an army guy, like, whoa, shut the heck up, what are you talking about? It's not a nice day. Well, so we all have different ways, but it's funny how it's always how you look at things. But again, the emotional for me, I would come out of the cabin and say, well, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. It's amazing. You look at the stars. You're in the middle of nowhere. You've done 3 weeks of rowing, and there's at least 3 weeks to go. It seems like a long time, seems forever, but you still want to enjoy the moment. And then I think for me, will stay the friendship that I've developed with those guys. This friend Thiago from Brazil, we were four guys, four nationalities. Fian was from Iceland, Carlo was from the US, Thiago was from Brazil, and I'm the French American guy. And anyway, with Fian, sorry, with Thiago, oh my God, we got in so much fight at the middle of the night because he was never ready. He was losing his gloves. He was not eating properly. He had to stop for any kind of reason and poop in the bucket or whatever. And we had so many fights. But then every time was, okay, I love you, my brother. Let's go through this. And it was such a strength. I mean, and now he's like my brother forever. And I love this. I love the human side of it.
Oh, that's exciting. So I think you hit on another point, whether you're working or working as a team, working at work, being able to have that connection and camaraderie and respect how another person reacts or how they handle situations and learn how to deal with that and not take it personally. Do you think that definitely helps the journey to be successful and positive? It sounds like in your case it did.
Yeah, I think it's every person is different. In our boat, we were four guys, um, different cultures, different ways of seeing, but we all had the common goal. I mean, I got to tell you that we've had some hard times with some of the personalities, but it's okay. Everybody has a different character for a different environment. Like I would say, I'm pretty good in teams, and I really like when other people succeed. So I will put that forward. Fian was a leader in the way that he would be a very good army general, very focused in strength and Guinness records and numbers and push and push. And he was very important in making the Guinness happen. Okay, because he brought that discipline and that strength, but he was also very rigid, So in the end, you just have to play with what the cards you've dealt with, right? What happens in the boat stays in boat. Yeah, it's everybody's different again, but in the end, you have to make it work. What I like, what I've done in the Yukon River Quest was, once a problem happens, we don't care who's guilty. Is that you? No, you didn't paddle fast enough. You're tired. You didn't manage your nutrition. Who cares the reason? Let's fix the problem. Paddle on. And then once we have a pause, we talk about the problem. Okay, how could we avoid it, and move on. So it's really not about pointing fingers who is guilty or not. It's about how can we solve it right now? Let's go.
And that probably helps you translate into a greater well-being from a mental standpoint outside of this racing. It helps you navigate the rest of your world. I think too, those are great lessons to carry on into other areas of your life and work life, I think.
Yeah, totally. So I think for me, the biggest learning was actually to enjoy small things, because on the boat for 40 days, there's no shower, there's no cold beer, there's no dry cloth, because the cabin is wet after 3-4 days. So you sleep in wet sleeping bag, and you don't take really, any shower. I wash my hair twice, and you can't hug the people you love because they're not there. You can't really have any moment quiet. So when I arrived in Hawaii, it was like big breath out. You see a bird, you enjoy it. You're dry, you enjoy it. You eat a little piece of cake that somebody made for you, you enjoy it. You hug somebody, you enjoy it. And that was the biggest learning for me, was enjoying the small moments. And of course, I forget it. That's probably why I need to go back in the boat.
That you kind of segued right into, can you tell us, just as we wrap up here, tell us what your next adventure is? You have two coming up.
Yes, that's right. Well, I was supposed to cross on a solo and an unsupported expedition to Hawaii next week, like on the 30, in 10 days. And because this is not happening, my boat is stuck in England because of the COVID-19. Then it's for May 2021. And I would love for all the people in Hawaii to meet me when I get there. There'll be a map where you can track me. Please come and stand up paddle OC1, surfboard, whatever you are. Please meet me in the ocean. That would be so good. But because I wanted to do something, I feel like a void of not going on an adventure. So I just created last week. I'm going to go from Lake Shasta all the way to Golden Gate Bridge. So it's 360 miles of paddling out of the blue, not very prepared, but I just have a GPS. I have my sleeping bag in the tent, and I'll just sleep on the shore, stop on the shore of the river. And there'll be a map on my website as well where you could follow me. I'll try to blog every day because I have a phone connection. I have my GPS, and I'll try some gear that I wanted to try anyway. So please follow me on that Shasta to Golden Gate Bridge adventure.
Well, I will send a follow-up that has this information on it for sure. I think as we close, you just really, you said you wrapped so many things up into your experiences, from a mental, a physical, and emotional standpoint. And as you're walking through all those experiences, you're really practicing resilience, and you are upping your game. Every time you get the experience to get uncomfortable, you practice resilience, and you are living that. And for each one of us, it's those small things that Cyrill also mentioned, to be thankful for, to appreciate, or even right down to making your bed, washing the dishes, taking those moments, those small moments that really make a huge difference in our overall well-being and purpose, and finding our full potential. And I think, Cyrill, I so appreciate your time and your energy and motivation and inspiration for each one of us to maybe go forward and dream a little bit, whatever that's going to be for you, because each one of us, as you said, we're a little different, but dream a little bit, and pick something that really resonates. Like with you, it's about energy and vivacity, find something that makes you get up, do your happy dance, whatever that is. Set that plan in motion and accomplish it. That is the power of the human spirit, and that is what we were talking about, how amazing it is. And from my viewpoint and the work that we do here, we want nothing more than each and every one of you, it doesn't matter how old, how young you are, to find and experience the power of the human spirit. And it really comes in all the small things that we do. So Cyrill, thank you so very much for your time, your energy, your expertise, a little bit of education that you gave us, and learning how to set those goals and making them happen. And remember, it doesn't happen overnight, right? You're a work in progress on a daily, day in, day out, for sure. We will be following up with an email that has the links to how to follow Cyrill and his upcoming adventures. And if you have any questions, I'll take 2 questions real quick. Does anyone have any questions? And actually, if you want to unmute yourself, go for it. We'll do it that way. 2 minutes. Or you can email, or you can text in the box and I'll ask. Nobody wants to know about how badly your hands got all blistered up.
They do. It's all good.
But
What I would like to say is, listen, as much as I've relied on other people throughout the years of asking, I would like to make myself available for anybody who wants to have like a 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes talk about your own adventure and how we could maybe think about it. Happy to do that. To do so.
Oh, That would be great. I appreciate that so much. I'll pass that along in the email as well. Super. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time today. And from all of us here at WYAO Hawaii Corporate Wellness, we so appreciate your time today. And we hope that through the series that we've done and our time with Cyrill today, we've given you a little bit of inspiration to always to be your best selves. And when we're coming out of our quarantine and what we're doing, our little blip, that we're able to come back a little bit better. So from all of us here at WYAO Hawaii Corporate Wellness, we wish you an absolutely fantastic day. Thank you, Cyrill. You've been amazing.
Aloha.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
That was Lynn. Lynn, she's thank you. She's my sister-in-law, and she's been following you guys. And she has other friends that have done this too.
Bye, guys. See you.
Bye.
Steve, I
Thanks,
love you.
Cyrill.
Carla, too. Love you, Terry. Bye.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
So we've gotten a lot of thank yous, Cyrill. I'm an avid paddler myself and enjoyed the story. Sending good vibes. Thank you.
Awesome.
Oh, those are your kids. I think Lynn might have a question. Lynn, are you?
I'm here. My question is, I followed my friend Patrick's crossing of the Atlantic, and things that you would never think of, like you're talking about not being able to shower. And for them, it was the constant chase everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's how to live with that when every part of your body has rawness.
I have a question. You folks did this on a 6-man outrigger canoe, or?
No, so the crossing of the Pacific was a 4-man rowing boat.
Oh, okay. And how long did it take you guys?
39 days.
Nice.
I know,
That's
amazing,
awesome.
huh?
Yes.
I think I'll send it, if it's okay, Cyrill, I'll send a few pictures of you guys.
Oh, please, send all the pictures you want.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll send some pictures and you get a better visual of kind of what it was like. And also in some of the links, there's a video that's fantastic that gives you some behind the scenes of you in the boat, actually. And, you know, you can see what it's like. What do you call it? The berth? Is it your, where you sleep, the sleeping quarters? What that's like?
The cabin. Yeah.
The cabin? Yeah. It's really amazing. Amazing. Yeah. So I'll send those along for sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Lisa. Thank you.
Thanks,
Cyrill,
Terry.
thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Hey, Sean.
Hi.
Maybe we'll see you in the water.
All right. Sounds good. I'll look for you.
Bye.
We'll look for you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.